So I was at a party at Christmas, and I always get the same problem at any party I go to, which is sometimes the conversation comes around to, oh, and what do you do for a living? Or what does Peter do for a living? And people really struggle to come to terms with the fact that you can bet for a living. So normally I just sort of say, well, I'm a sports analyst. I look at data and, anything but saying that I actually bet on sports. But sometimes I do turn around and sort of go, well, yeah, actually, I very unusual, but I bet on sports for a living. And on this occasion, the person wasn't immediately dismissive. They were quite interested. They asked loads of questions and I gave them loads of answers. And I was thinking, oh, this is interesting. Somebody that's actually genuinely interested and isn't skeptical. However, I was wrong, because they came round with that killer question at the end of the conversation where they said to me, so then, Peter, if you found a betting system that actually works, why don't you just put all of your money into it, make an enormous amount of money, and then retire to a desert island somewhere? Well, here's the desert island. But if you want to find out if I'm retiring or not after 25 years of doing this, just watch the rest of this video. So a chunk of you who are watching this video will already know me and know my story, but for those that don't, it's important to just give you a quick debrief. And the debrief is, if only you buy this system, you will make enormous amounts of money and can retire to a desert island. That is absolutely, totally not the thing that I do. That is nothing like. It's about as far removed as what I do as you could ever possibly imagine. About 25 years ago, betting exchanges came to the fore in the betting world, and I realized that this was an opportunity to be able to, for the first time ever in betting history, to be able to make money from betting. Because the problem you always face with betting is, if you're profitable, bookmakers will restrict you and all of these sort of horrible things. But that never was going to happen on an exchange, because an exchange is where two people come together, they match bets, and the exchange takes a commission from the winning bet. There's no need to restrict or limit people who win. So I saw this as an absolutely prime opportunity. And therefore I headed off in that direction, and a bit later created some software called BetAngel, and that has sort of transformed the way that people look at betting markets. Now, of course, it's really easy to be skeptical and to think that doing anything on betting is profitable, or could be profitable, or certainly sustainable over a long period of time, because of all the bad news that you hear about betting. But the funny thing is, it is possible. It's just nobody really talks about it, and there are very deep vested interests within the industry itself, and as a consequence, you don't tend to hear these stories very much. And also, even if you do, then it's very likely you'll fall into the trap that many other people have, which, as soon as betting exchanges became popular, loads of systems and people popped up all over the place to talk positively about them, but it was just a rehash of all the old system sellers that you've seen in the past. If you get a dartboard, you blindfold yourself, you get spun around 16 times and then try and hit a bullseye, that's about as much chance as you get of finding someone that is genuine. So when I started doing this and started to feel comfortable talking about what I was doing, naturally it brings on an awful lot of skepticism. But if you were able to hit that bullseye, having spun around 16 times and being blindfolded, then hopefully you will be able to understand exactly where I'm coming from and the sort of person that I am. And that this is sort of what's led me to where I am now. And where I am now is on a desert island in the middle of nowhere. And the reason that I'm here is simply because when you bet on sports, it tends to be quite seasonal. And from about sort of mid-November up until February, things are quite quiet for me, and I can afford to take a break. And unfortunately, I can't take a break during the summer because I'm totally full on. So yeah, this time of year is an opportunity for me to get away, enjoy life a little bit, and soak up some of the benefits of 25 years worth of betting for a living. But at the core of all of that, all that I'm doing is just, trying to get two bets matched. When I first started, that was the core thing that I was trying to do. I figured out that rather than back with a bookmaker and lay off on the exchange, I could just back and lay on the exchange, net a profit between the two. So, rather unexpectedly, I've spent the last 20 years or so trying to improve that and get better and better at that. but I have been able to do that. I'm really surprised because I thought I wouldn't be able to last very long because it was such a simple idea. Other people would cotton on and I'd get pushed out of the market, but that just has not happened. And it's really from that low base, I've just built gradually on top of it and done cleverer things and been more specific about when I do them and how I do them and stuff like that. And that's what I try and reflect in the videos. I'll give you solutions to individual markets, certain trading styles, show you how those join together and stuff like that, and lots of different things all over the place. But it's a very personal decision as to how you choose to do it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. What we're talking about in terms of what I do here is it's a way rather than a thing, and it's definitely not a system. But the encouraging thing is that, you know, I'm still here all of this time later and still doing very well. So yeah, what I do is really simple. Obviously well practiced it and so on. But I often feel that if I produced a video telling you exactly what to do, when, how, and, you know, all of that detail, that there would still be a lot of people that still wouldn't get it, despite the fact that I've just shown you exactly how certain strategies work. And part of this is because you look at the psychology of trading, and trading is all about taking risk, not avoiding it. And people do hate taking risk, they hate losing money, and that significantly plays an impact in terms of the way that people do things, even with automated strategies, curiously enough. People often go into a strategy, it loses money to start with, and they just don't stick it out until the strategy is really borne fruit. And when we're looking at trading manually, one of the issues that people have is the market sort of bullies them into doing things that they really shouldn't be doing. So I have done loads of videos on each of these individual aspects, tried to group them together and show you different parts of the market so you can really begin to understand and unpick it. And like I said earlier, I could produce that wonderful video that showed you everything that works perfectly and how to do it exactly, and still people would find an issue with it. And I hear lots of people saying, well, why didn't you produce that video, Peter? And the reason that I know that people would still find an issue with it and would still struggle is because I have produced those videos and I've read the comments on people telling me why it won't work, that they tried it and it didn't work, and all of these sort of things. And yet I've just handed to you on a plate something that definitely works. And, you know, and also you get, if you look at the comments on the video where I bet on a favorite over the course of the year, you can see how people have just got that video completely wrong. And when, if you look at the video where I said how I made my first million, you can see loads of weird comments on that as well. So you begin to realize that there's this core underneath all of this that has a hand to play in the market as well. And if you can get your head around that and begin to learn how to exploit it rather than be a victim to it, that can make a big difference. And I think that, you know, when you go through that phase, because I've been through it, I was terrible trading financial short term, and I've obviously become a lot better at taking risk now. You sort of open this door and suddenly everything seems completely different. You feel enlightened. I've seen lots of people go through the same phase, and just because you've got something that works or you've had something explained to you, you've still got to do it. And that's one of the key things. And I think that's why some people struggle to replicate some of the stuff that is available. But yeah, if you're looking for videos, they're all out there on the psychology, the money management, strategies, tactics, market types, trading strategies, and so on. They're all there. But what you choose to do is very much often a personal preference down to how much risk you can tolerate. So something else to throw into the mix is, you know, the only thing that never changes is that the markets are always changing. And certain sports are popular at certain times and then fade away. Some things have very high liquidity and then they become lower liquidity as money moves elsewhere. Government changes legislation, terms and conditions change, certain things change, loads of things change all of the time. But one of the most powerful things that I learned is that negative minds find problems, positive minds find opportunities. And when you have that mantra and you begin to understand that, you will just start searching for opportunities all of the time. Things will go wrong all of the time. It's inevitable. But also, you know, there are certain things you can't control. You can try and influence legislation, for example, but the government's going to do whatever the hell it likes, especially if it has a large majority. So all you can do is focus on looking for the opportunities. Try and forget about all of the problems and all of the issues. Oh, worried about this, worried about that. Don't worry about it. Sometimes when these debates come around, I'm sort of not that active in these debates, and that is because I'm so focused on looking for opportunities. And I think if there's one thing that you must do all of the time, is try and not worry about things that you can't influence. Just focus on what's in front of you and the things that you can influence. And ultimately, positive minds do find opportunities. So at this party, this person said, well, why don't you throw as much money at it as you can and then retire to a desert island? Well, I am on the desert island. I have thrown as much money as I can over the last 20 plus years, but I have no plans to retire. It still works. I had a bumper year last year. And, I don't see any reason to stop doing it. I really enjoy it. I can change the shape of it slightly. Over years, I've managed to automate some of my manual trading, but I still trade manually because there are opportunities trading manually that are harder to automate, and there are automation solutions that fit in and around all of that as well. I'm just going to do the lot. I'm going to do everything that I can to continue doing this. So yeah, no plans to retire. I want to do more, and the fact is I really do love it. I mean, I effectively watch sport for a living. That's typically what I do. I can't think of a better job, and I'm just surprised that it's lasted for so long. And yeah, I'm going to get skeptics, and there are going to be people, and there's no slam dunk. You're not guaranteed to be able to do it. However, I would say that it's been one of the best opportunities that has come along in my lifetime, and therefore I think, I would have incredibly regretted it, although I may not have known it at the time, if I hadn't have gone down this particular path. So I want to send out a positive message to you. And I realize that it's not for everybody, and not everybody can do it. Some people really struggle with it. But all of the content that I put out there is designed to try and help push you in that direction. I don't sit down thinking, oh, what unbelievable video could I do this week to get some views on YouTube? I'm thinking more along the lines of what knowledge have I got that I could put out there to fill in some of the gaps of stuff that I've published before. So there's genuine sort of meaning behind those particular videos. And yeah, I do need to jazz them up now and again to be have any chance of being watched on YouTube. But fundamentally, the core of those videos is the essence of what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years as well. And I realize it's not for everybody, but I think it would be a shame if you didn't give it a go, or you didn't give it a good go, because it's been the best opportunity that could have ever possibly been around for betting. So yeah, I want to give you a positive note. And I want to tell you that I have no plans to retire, and that I'm going to be here again, trying my absolute best to do as much as I can in the following year. And always remember, negative minds find problems, positive ones, opportunities.